Welcome to this fifth video on protection of information assets. In this video, we will cover these four topics: network and endpoint security, IS auditor's role in LAN, local area network security, client server, and the wireless security. Okay, so with that, let's get started with what is network and endpoint security. So as far as this topic is concerned, understanding of OSI, 7 layers of OSI model is very, very important. This is a slide which is the foundation for this very important concept, again from your exam as well as your real life perspective. So what does this model say is that when you communicate, right, there are 7 layers through which that communication happens from one person to another person, from one computer to another computer. And it starts from bottom up, actually. Yeah. So what are those 7 layers? The first one. Yeah. So I'm trying to simplify the concept for you just to make it absolute layman. Yeah. The first one is physical layer. So physical layer is basically, having the wireless connection or the fiber, the cable or the hubs and repeaters, routers, which are used for actually transmitting the data from your computer to the internet or to your local area network. Because if you don't have these devices, if you don't have these technology, then whatever you're typing in your laptop, it will not go outside of your laptop. So that is the physical layer. Okay. Once your physical layer is there, once it has been used, then you go to the second one, which is the data link layer. This is the one which actually fragments, it splits your data into frames and it formats the data onto the network, because your data will not go from your laptop to outside in exactly the same length in which you have created the data. It has to be split. Yeah. And that is what is done by the data link layer. Once it has been converted into frames by this, then it goes to the network layer. So what does the network layer does? It decides what is the path, what is the route your data will take to reach the destination. So this is decided by the network layer. So once network layer has decided, okay, this is the route, it is like, GPS. So once the GPS has decided that this is the route to be taken, then someone has to actually take the data there. Who takes? It is a transport layer, which actually takes your data on which route? The route which was decided by the network layer. So once the transport layer transport the actual data, there is the session layer. Session layer, what it does? It maintains the connection, yeah, between the ports and the sessions. Otherwise, what will happen? You may have seen sometimes you get the message of session timeout. Yeah. So if that session is not maintained, the data which has come all the way to the recipient, it will not get delivered to him. And hence the session layer does the job of maintaining the session. The next one, so once that session layer is also maintained, it is also established, what does the presentation layer does? It converts the data again back into the format which the recipient computer can understand, right? Because as you know, whatever you and I, whatever we type, right, it is converted into machine language, because computers understand machine language. They don't understand our normal English, the English which you are seeing on my slide. Computer doesn't understand that. So that is converted into machine language. It travels in the machine language, and then it has to be converted back to human readable, or the computer that, the user readable format. And who does that? Which layer does that? Presentation layer does that. And once presentation layer has converted the data back into the usable format, how the data is made visible to the recipient? It is done through the application layer. Okay, application layer takes care of that job. So right from the physical layer, which is those hubs or routers, your wireless internet, or maybe the cable internet, all those things. So your data, the transmission or data networking, it starts with the physical layer. From whose side? From the sender side, and it ends with the application layer at the recipient side. So these are the 7 layers through which work together for the to enable the network and for the endpoints to transmit data from one point to another. So this is very important model, and you may expect some question coming in your exam around this. Now, with that, let's move to the next concept, which is IAS auditor's role in LAN security. LAN is local area network. Okay, so local area network, a very simple concept. In every company, whether you work in a big firm or a small firm, big company or small company, you all are part of the local area network, where whatever resource, other than your Excel file or Word file or a presentation, which is on your laptop, the moment you connect your laptop to the Wi-Fi, to the company Wi-Fi, or you attach the LAN cable, you are part of the local area network. And many companies, they push the LAN local area network security policies for you to for your laptop, so that there is no weak link. There is no weak link within the organization, because even if there is a single laptop which is not secure, the moment it attaches to the LAN, then the risk on the other machines which are part of the LAN, it increases. Okay, and hence, as part of the IAS audit, we perform a review of the LAN security. And what does that include? It includes checking whether the following have been documented. One, users or groups with privileged access. Who are those users? Yeah, and why we check this? To ensure that no suspicious user has access to the privileged access rights, or the privileged access rights have been adequately secured. Yeah. We also check whether the procedures and standards relating to network design, naming convention, and data security, they have been well defined, and they are in compliance with various security frameworks which the company can adopt. Then we also check the overall LAN topology and the network design to see whether that design looks okay, or there seems to be some missing links in the way the network has been designed. And you will go deeper into it in other chapter, in other modules. Then you look at who are the LAN administrator and the LAN owners, because they are the ones who can change the LAN configurations and the policies. So whether the access has been adequately restricted and what exactly they are doing, yeah, whether the logs are enabled, logging is enabled or not, it becomes very important for us as IAS auditors. And what functions are performed by LAN administrator becomes very important. So it is about checking few things. One, how the privilege access is maintained, how the LAN administration is logged, how the network design has been designed, and what are the procedures and the standards relating to the design, support mechanism, and naming convention, and so on. Yeah. With that, we move to the next concept, which is client server security. See, as you know, how a client server system architecture looks like. So when you have multiple users, yeah, accessing the data which is centrally resided. So that central server is connected to all the machines. And how it is connected? So for example, if you want to access SAP or maybe Oracle Financials, and there are, say, more than one user, yeah. So one user may be updating, say, creating purchase order, another may be approving purchase order, another is supposed to do goods receipt, the next one is supposed to do the vendor invoice posting, and so on. So you need to give multiple users access to the same system, and you don't want different users to maintain different data points with them. And hence what we do, we create a central server, which has the main application and the database, and the presentation layer, yeah, which is called GUI, graphical user interface. That icon which is on your desktops to whichever application you want to access. So that GUI is given to you. You means the clients. So when the purchase order creation user, when he wants to enter PO, he will double click on that GUI. He will open SAP, just for example. He will pass on the entry, and when he passes and he saves, it is not getting saved on his laptop. It is getting saved on their server. So that the moment it is saved, all other clients, all other users can also see at the same time. Yeah? So that we don't maintain multiple versions of the truth. We maintain one version, which is on the server, and everybody else who is creating a new entry or editing an existing entry or running reports, everybody is running it on the central server. Okay, and that is why we as IS auditors, we perform an audit of the client server security, whether this entire architecture, whether it has been designed properly or not. Okay, so what we as IS auditors should ensure, we ensure number one, the application controls cannot be bypassed. And there are many application controls. To give you an example, if the company policy says that only the person who is creating purchase order, he cannot approve purchase order. So that has to be either configured or programmed into the application. So this is called application control. If the company policy says that if you are raising a purchase order of 100 rupees, then we are giving a tolerance of say 10% beyond the purchase order quantity as far as goods receipt is concerned. So it means whatever is the approved purchase order quantity, you cannot get more than 110% of that. Few kgs or few liters here and there is okay because of the the truck capacity or the mode of transport in which that goods have come. A few kgs, few liters here and there is okay. So that can be configured into the system as an application control. So what happens? If your vendor, so you created a purchase order of 100 kgs of sugar, for example, and your vendor has sent 120 kgs, the moment your stores in charge, suppose he has the access to do GRN, the moment he is trying to do goods receipt of 120 kg, your system will not allow, your application will not allow. Because in the application, you had configured the company policy, which was 10% tolerance. So it means your stores in charge, he can access, he can enter up to 110 kg against that purchase order. Beyond 110, he cannot enter. So that is one very good example of application control. And there are many such application controls which companies configure into the system. So they have to be designed. They can be designed, guys, in two manners, and that's a mistake many auditors do. Most of the configurations, they can be configured either as a warning or as an error. Yeah. In case of warning, what happens? That stores in charge, he will get a pop-up box that showing warning, saying the maximum limit allowed is 110. Are you sure you want to do goods receipt of 120 kgs? So the moment that store in charge says yes or okay, system accepts it. Yeah. So there is no real control which is happening. It's just giving a pop-up box, which he just press enter, system will allow him to proceed. This control really doesn't add value to the organization, and hence it is always recommended either to disallow overriding the control, or if the company says no, we may in some situations allow, then instead of disallowing, it should go to an additional level of approval. So it means someone else has to unblock in case you want to do more than 110 kg of goods receipt, just as an example. But just giving warning doesn't help the company. Yeah, passwords are always encrypted, so that's something which we have to ensure. Otherwise, what will happen? Say if there are these 3 clients, okay, and my password on the server, or the password on the server are secured, say in a plain text file, unencrypted text file. So what will happen? Anyone, maybe an administrator or someone, can log in into the server and see, okay, what are the passwords of all the users? And suppose I have the authorization to approve purchase orders. So if someone can read my password, what they can do, they can log in into the server using my ID and password, and they can approve whatever they want to approve, and hence the collusion can happen. That is why passwords have to be encrypted. Yeah. So there are few more controls which we as IS auditors, we need to ensure, we need to check whether they have been put in place as far as the client server security is concerned. Okay. With that, we move to the next topic, which is wireless security. Now, these days, you see almost every organization is providing a wireless access. Yeah, the moment you open your laptop and you can connect to the company network. Obviously, you need to know the password, or if the companies normally split it into the employees or the authorized or the the guests. Yeah. In case of guests, there are more restrictions. You are allowed to do very limited activity if you are a guest or if you are a visitor. But if you are having the corporate wireless access, Wi-Fi access, then you have more privileges. And this is what, guys, we as IS auditor have to check, that how that corporate wireless has been configured and how the guest or the visitor wireless has been configured. Because if the security in both of them are weak, then someone can create a hue and cry within the organization by maybe doing DOS attack, denial of service attack, or DDoS attack, and so on. So a lot of things can go wrong if the wireless security is not adequate. So what we as IS auditors, we check in wireless security. Number one, we check whether a third party, whether we are able to verify the content of a message and that they have not been changed in the transit. Because if we don't get that assurance that whether the message in the transit was changed or not, then how do I know whether that email which I'm getting from my boss, was it actually written by my boss or not written by my boss? Yeah. So what if the network, anybody can read the data which is flowing through the wireless network, and my boss actually sent me an email saying not approved. I made a request to my boss, and I asked for his approval. He said not approved. And what if someone can actually hijack into that message, and what if he removes the not? Then the email which I will get is approved, and I will move on. I will take it as an approval because my boss is approved, and I will take next steps. So that is why authenticity is something which has to be ensured by us as IS auditors. Non-repudiation. Non-repudiation again is an important concept. It means we should when we see that an email has come to you by say rajivgupta@gmail.com, then there should not be a confusion or an option where Rajiv say, no, there can be another rajivgupta@gmail.com. There should not be any such confusion. Yeah, Rajiv Gupta can still say, no, my email ID was hacked. Someone had got access to my password, and he may be sending it easily. That's a separate point. But whether an email, whether a message has come from this ID, that should be non-repudiated. Yeah, nobody should be able to repudiate that. Yes, this email has come from this particular source or not. So that becomes very, very important for the online world. Yeah. Next is accountability. Yeah, it should be traceable. And the last one is network availability. As I said, if you don't define adequate control, especially on the Wi-Fi given to visitors and the guests, many times you have some guests coming to meet the employees, or the vendors come, the consultants come to show you something, some of their offerings, and to access, say, their website, or to access some of the material, they request, can we get access, to your Wi-Fi, your company Wi-Fi. Many times they are given. Normally these days people use their own mobile hotspot, but sometimes if the website they want or if the material they want is heavy, they request for the company Wi-Fi. Ideally, it has to be separate. It has to be the visitor or the guest Wi-Fi, and that has to be super secure. so that someone who is an expert hacker, he should not be able to use your visitor or the guest Wi-Fi network to bring your internal network down. Yeah, so that is why as IS auditor, we need to also check what are the measures which have been put in place to ensure network availability. Yeah, so these were some of the topics, guys, I wanted to cover in this video. If you have any question, please put it in the comment section below and we will get back to you as soon as possible. With that, thank you so much and see you in the next one.